everyone, Carol here at Oak House Journals, and a big warm welcome as always from me. I think I might have caused a little bit of confusion with the last video that I did on wrapping twigs and wrapping washers, because one or two of you have come back to me to say you're not quite sure how to finish off your washer when you have sewn all the way round. Now, I did explain that in the video, but obviously I rattled through it so quickly I've confused one or two of you, so I'm so sorry about that. I will do a quick video now showing you how to finish off your washer. So very quickly, just to recap, get a decent portion of your thread and pinch it between your washer and your index finger. Create your loop at the back of your washer. Take your needle, thread it through from the front of your washer through to the back and pull. And that will create that loop for you on top of your washer. That's your first stitch. Through again, through that loop, pull it tight, and that is your second stitch. So as I said before, just carry on going all the way around your washer like this. So I'm just going to do a few more stitches for you. Front to the back and pull, and just keep pushing your stitches together. Really easy. Keep holding this, trapping your thread or your tail thread at the back with your left hand, and just carry on doing this all the way round. Really simple when you get going. It's actually easier to do the quicker you do it. When you're trying to do it very slow for a video, it's not that easy to do because your thread seems to go everywhere. So I'm just working my way all the way around here like so. I'm going to do 2 more stitches, and then I'm going to switch off the camera, everybody, because this is a bit like watching paint dry, isn't it? And I will get to the end of my washer and show you how to finish off. Okay, so I will be back in a moment. Hi everyone, I've turned the camera back on because, as you can see, I've not gone very far and I'm running out of thread here, and clearly that little tail of thread there is not enough to get me all the way round back to the start. So as I showed you in the last video, I'm just going to recap and show you how I would get rid of that piece of thread. So starting again, front of my washer, back of my washer, and this is the tail end of my new piece of thread. So I'm just going to lay it down at the back of my washer. Again, trap it between my 2 fingers. So that is the thread on my needle, okay? And this is the thread from the last stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to lay that over the top. Here's my needle going through the hole to the back of my washer, creating my loop like so, and as you can see, that stitch is trapped underneath the loop. So I'm just going to tighten up that stitch, hold it as I normally do, and just straighten that tail out again. So that's 1 stitch. Here's my second, that's still there. Here's my 3rd stitch, and here's my 4th stitch. Now you can do as many or as few as you like, but I usually do at least 4. I'm just going to move that ridge of stitching to the top of my washer. There's my tail, my starting tail, and this is the spare. So I'm just going to chop that off, put it to one side, and just carry on round the same as before. And this little bit of tail here, I'm just going to carry on trapping underneath my stitches like so, until it's completely hidden. Now, as I said in the last video, what you can do is have that thread lying on the top of your washer, but if you can, get it to lie round the back of your washer, because if you do that, then it creates less of a change in the size of that ridge that's going around the top of your washer. It's hardly noticeable at all, and if it doesn't bother you and it's easier to do it with your thread lying on the top of your washer, then I would suggest you just go with that. So I'm going to switch the camera off again, everybody, and I will come back to you when I have gone all the way round, because I'm pretty certain now that I have enough thread to be able to get me all the way round to the start. So I will be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back, everybody. So as you can see, we're getting towards the end of our washer. Now if I flip it over, that is our tail from where we started, and that is the tail left over from where I joined onto a new piece of thread. Now what you do now with that tail end piece of thread, you want to start trapping it, same as we did before, under your stitches. So it's the same process as when you're doing this and joining it on, but in reverse. So this time, just making sure you keep that stitch nice and tight, just lay it either behind your washer or on the top. Okay, so I'm just going to put mine behind and hold it. Okay, and then carry on doing my stitches. Now don't worry about this, because you can push that along as you go, but I'm just going to do my stitches and trap it at the back. Okay, so just keep that first stitch just out of the way so that you can get it to lie flat in due course, and just carry on doing your stitching. But this time I'm holding that thread and it's getting caught behind those stitches there. Okay, so I'm just carrying on, keeping my stitches pushed tight. And it does get a little bit fiddly. Just closing that gap up, making sure my stitches are moved up close to each other on both sides of that gap, until I can't get any more stitches in this area here. Okay, almost there. Just a couple more stitches. And it's amazing, you think you're done and then you can just get a couple more in. It's always the way, I find, with these. So keep that stitch out of the way, that first stitch out of the way. And I'm just going to get one more stitch in there. There we go. So if I flip it over, that stitch is caught. So now all I'm going to do is snip it off. And then you just need to just manipulate your edge to get that ridge along the top. And if you do have a slight gap here, it's not a problem, just move your stitches round. And if you've kept them all nice and tight, that one will quietly go across there for you. Now what I tend to do is just take that stitch and just go through the first one. Now I'm going to have trouble with this because I'm using a darning needle and very thick thread here, and it's not going to want to go, but it's not gone too badly. Now I would use this thread and this thread to anchor down to my project like so. Now I would use a little bit of Beacon 3-in-1 glue or some fabric glue just on the back there to hold it in place. It's not necessary, but that's what I would do. And then I would take my needle and I would just go down through my fabric up the other side and just do a couple of stitches that way to secure it at the back. Now you could come up again from the back, and again I've not got the best needle, like so, and through your ridge there. Now I'm not sure whether this needle is going to do it. Yes, it will. Whoops-a-daisy, let me just pull that through like so, and go down again. And so you've got a little stitch, and then I would just do a couple of little back stitches on the back, and then do the same with this thread going through to the back. Now if you wanted to be absolutely certain that that was going to stay in place, you could use your thread and carry on stitching all the way round and stitch into that ridge if you wanted to, or even stitch into the back, the stitches at the back. But I'm clearly not going to do it with a darning needle. If I was going to go and do that, then I would change to a needle with a point on rather than a darning needle. But what I tend to find with the projects that I've been doing, that just a stitch here and a stitch here using these threads is enough, and the glue is a belt and braces. It's not going to go anywhere. So there we go, everybody. I hope that that was a lot clearer this time, and that you could follow what to do when you got to the end of your washer. They look very pretty, don't they? I really like doing these, and actually I really love this one. I've done it in a much finer decorative, much thicker decorative thread, but I'm actually liking how that has turned out. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for watching, and take care. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.